Elias watched the sleek, black Lexus pull into the driveway next door. His new neighbor, a woman named Sharon, stepping out with a triumphant smile. He gave a polite wave from his porch. She glanced over. Her smile faltered for a fraction of a second, and she gave a curt, almost imperceptible nod before disappearing into her house. Elias shrugged it off. He had just bought his new house in this quiet, suburban development and was in a good mood. Today was the day his own car was being delivered. A few hours later, a large, unmarked car carrier pulled up to Elias's driveway. He signed a few papers, and the driver expertly lowered the ramp. The garage door rumbled open, revealing a meticulously clean space. As the driver carefully guided the car off the carrier and onto the driveway, Elias's smile was as wide as his new front door. It was a brand new charcoal gray Range Rover, a reward for years of hard work. He got in, checked the dash, and then pulled it slowly into his garage, the new engine a low, satisfying purr. Just as the garage door was starting to descend, Elias heard a shrill voice from next door. "That's my car! He stole my car!" Elias peered out through the closing gap. Sharon was standing on her lawn, pointing frantically toward his garage. She had a phone to her ear, and her voice was a high-pitched scream. 911? I'd like to report a car theft. A man just drove off with my new Lexus. Yes, a black man. He's trying to hide it in the garage next door. He's closing the door right now. Elias felt a cold knot form in his stomach. He hadn't even finished closing his own garage door. He stepped out of the car and watched as Sharon's face twisted in rage, her phone still pressed to her ear. He's a thief. He's right there. He just got out of the car he stole from me. He's going to run. You need to get here now, she shrieked. Elias walked slowly down his driveway, raising his hands in a calm, open gesture. Ma'am, I think there's a misunderstanding. This is my car, my new Range Rover. A Range Rover? Sharon sneered, her eyes raking over his clothes, a comfortable t-shirt and shorts. Don't lie to me. I just saw you drive it off the carrier, and I just saw you drive my new Lexus into my driveway. I should have known. He shook his head, utterly bewildered. My car is a Range Rover. You have a Lexus. They're two different vehicles. Sharon looked at him with an expression of pure, unadulterated contempt. I know a Lexus when I see one. I just bought one. This isn't a Range Rover, and you're not a neighbor, you're a criminal. Within minutes, two police cruisers pulled up, sirens silent. Two officers, one young and one older, stepped out. Sharon, her face flushed with fury, pointed a trembling finger at Elias. Officer, thank goodness. This man just stole my brand new Lexus. I called 911 when I saw him pull it off the carrier. The older officer, his face a mask of practiced calm, looked from Sharon to Elias. Ma'am, you said he stole a Lexus? Yes, a black one, she insisted, a tone of righteous vindication in her voice. The officer's gaze shifted to Elias's garage, where the front grille and tires of a charcoal gray Range Rover were still visible. He looked back at Sharon, then at the Lexus sitting placidly in her driveway. A slow smile, full of tired amusement, spread across the young officer's face. Ma'am, you're absolutely right. That's a black car. He turned to Elias. Sir, if you don't mind, could you open the rest of your garage? As the door fully ascended, revealing the Range Rover in its entirety, the older officer finally spoke, his voice dry as a bone. You know, ma'am, a Range Rover and a Lexus are two entirely different cars. One is a sport utility vehicle, the other is a sedan. Sharon's mouth hung open, her face now a patchwork of dawning horror and furious embarrassment. She looked from the Lexus in her driveway to the Range Rover in Elias's. The young officer pulled out a clipboard and a pen. Ma'am, you've admitted on a 911 call to falsely accusing a man of a felony, and you've wasted police time. That's a crime. Elias just stood there, his hands back in his pockets, a calm, weary expression on his face. He had been through this before, the quick judgment, the baseless accusation. But today, justice, in the form of a car carrier and two police officers, had arrived right on time. Sharon, defeated, stood in the shadow of the house she had just bought, a silent testament to the very real cost of her prejudice and her unchecked sense of entitlement. She had gotten the car she wanted but lost her dignity in the process.